Welcome back to our tactics course, and today in this lesson we're going to talk about discovered attacks, the principle of discovery in chess. So I chose for our theme flight. I think it represents a profound discovery of our own selves when we invented the airplane. So what is a discovered attack? Now this is really easy to understand, and you'll see. Take this rook on c1 and capture that black pawn on c7. How many turns, moves would it take you to capture that pawn? Well, you would like to go straight up the board and capture the pawn, but you can't. Your bishop is in the way. So how would you get to that pawn? Well, you could take 3 turns to get to the pawn, going around, right, and capturing it. Or there's another way you could get to that pawn, and this is called a discovery. You can simply move your bishop out of the way. And once your bishop moves out of the way, now your rook can take the pawn. This is what a discovered attack is. Basically, it's moving a piece out of the way to discover or reveal an attack by another piece that was just waiting to happen. So does it make sense so far? Discoveries are very powerful in chess, and you see them a lot, even at the highest levels. Here's a position where we're going to demonstrate how a discovered attack can just wreak havoc in your opponent's game. In this position, white takes this knight. There was a piece trade. And here, black, it seems like a good move, kicking this dark square bishop, pushing his pawn too. I'm going to get this bishop out of the way, but white has a powerful setup here for discovery. White calls check on the king. And now the black queen can't take the bishop because it's guarded by the rook. So the king has only one square to go to. The king goes to h7. And now white will open up a discovered attack. Watch what white does here. White calls check on the king again with the white bishop, completely ignoring the threat on the dark bishop. And when white calls check on the king, the attack on the queen is revealed. And so here, black is going to lose his queen through the discovery. Watch this again. See, right now in this moment, the white rook is not attacking the queen, but when the bishop moves, that's the discovery. It is a discovered attack. We can also use discoveries for other tactics. You remember the tactics like pins and skewers? Well, here, watch the black king. All the black king does is move and opens up a skewer on the king and the queen. This is a discovered skewer. So discoveries also work on other types of tactics as well. Pretty cool, huh? Let's imagine right now that we're white and we make this move knight to d5. What do you think of this move? Attacking the rook on b6. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and spend a minute or two. Spend more if you like. Analyze this position. And tell me what you think of this move, knight to d5. All right. Did you have a good look at it? What do you think? Well, when we get to positions like this, in the middle of the game, towards the end of the game, it's important that we come up with a plan. And in chess, you need a plan. You can't just move pieces aimlessly. The moment you don't have a plan in a game of chess is usually the moment the tide is going to turn against you. That's when your opponent is going to beat you, because your opponent will have the plan and you won't. A chess player without a plan is like a ship without a sail. You have nowhere to go. So let me help you develop a plan in this position. Let's take most of the pieces off the board. Consider this position here. Where would we like our rook to be if we're white? Well, we would love our rook to be up there on e8. Do you see how that would be checkmate if it weren't for that bishop on c6? That's right, this would be checkmate. So let's go back to the position. And now we understand that bishop on c6, don't we? That bishop is a defender. The bishop defends e8. And now that we see this, now you have a little bit clearer understanding of this position. Now look at this move, knight to d5. Okay, remember we said it was attacking the rook on b6? Well, that's not really what this knight is doing, is it? This knight is asking black, hey, please take me. Go ahead, take a free knight. What happens if black takes the knight? What did this move do? Number one, remember our bishop is cutting off all these dark squares on the king. Number two, the knight move opened up a discovered attack on the defender. The big defender in black's camp is this bishop on c6. We have now opened up a discovery. Because our rook on e1 is eyeing that e8 square, but it's defended by the bishop. It just so happens our knight is also attacking the rook on b6, but you know what? That's irrelevant. We don't care about the rook on b6. It doesn't mean a thing in this position. Now that we have a plan, we know what we're doing. The rook is not what we're after. So let's imagine black just moves his rook. He doesn't even see all of our plans. What is the right move now for white? Well, get rid of this defender. Once that defender of the c8 square is gone, now we're one move away from checkmate. We can now put our rook on e8. So from this sense, we call this a poisoned rook. It's poison. A poisoned piece is a piece that you cannot take. So if black takes this rook, it's checkmate. So black would be advised not to take this rook. Because if black takes that rook, the game is over. Isn't that awesome? This is how you can combine a discovered attack with other tactics on the chessboard. Now that you know all about discoveries, it's time for our first challenging position. And this one's a tough one. I'm going to rate this as very hard. But good news, if you're a beginner and this one's too tough for you, just keep watching. I will give a couple hints along the way to make it easier. But for those of you that love a challenge, pause the video now and find the best move for white. I will give the first clue in 3 seconds. Okay, your first clue is the rook on d1 is the piece that is to make the move. Make a move with this rook on d1. With that in mind, try again. I will give another clue in 3 seconds. And the move is rook takes bishop. And black is advised not to capture the white rook on d5. What happens if black captures this rook on d5? You see our bishop there on g5, slicing off all the squares for the black king. With this in mind, pause the video again and find right here the best move for white. I will give the answer in 3 seconds. And the winning move is knight to d6 check. The king is stuck. The king cannot move. Black must capture the knight. And so black comes out and captures the knight with his bishop, and now look at our queen on e2. Here comes the discovery. You see, when we capture this bishop with our pawn, we call check on the king and attack the queen at the same time. So in this position, we opened up a discovered attack on the king, a discovered check. And while we call check on the black king, the black queen is being attacked by the white pawn. Black is going to lose his queen. I told you that rook was a poisoned rook. What a great position. And this is a great example of the power of the discovered attack. And now that you've seen how this position works, can you see the discovery in the position? It's deep, it's a few moves away, but that queen on e2 is the piece that is going to ruin it for black. Now before we go, I've got one more position I'm just dying to show you. Have a look at this. It's white to move. Pause the video and find the best move for white. Okay. Did you find any discoveries in the position? How many discovered attacks are there when we move the white knight? Did you find knight to c6? Wow, look at that. We move the knight and we're attacking pretty much everything on the board. And just to top it off, our white knight is also giving a family fork on black. I think we can suffice to say that black has lost the game. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching our lesson on discovery, and we'll see you again next time.